Welcome back to The Bachelor, where 12 lovely contestants will be competing for the affections of a singular, most available bachelor. I've never seen The Bachelor. I assume it goes something like that. I assume that's sort of ballpark figure what happens. There's a bunch of girls who want to shag a dude. That's basically the gist of it, right? I don't know. But This is not that. This is Pathologic. Welcome back. We're gonna go speak to Alexei Sabarov. Is that the guy? I'm not great with names. They're all a bit Russian sounding. I know that much. But beyond that, this fella. Hello.
Neither the sun nor death can be looked at without winking.
So I finally get to see you. Yes, you really do look like a messenger of sorrowful times. In any case, welcome to the Rod. Our meeting is quite significant in a way. Facing the changes with open eyes and taking that first blow is my duty. Do you think we're on the verge of an especially unhappy era? No grim events have clouded our existence since last summer. The country has cured its war wounds. Commercial communications have been repaired. Astrologists expect nothing ill. Do you hold astrologists' opinions in high regard? The movement of the planets has an obvious effect on our lives. However, I do not think it's humanly possible to gain any profit from that.
This Haruspex is trying to prove his innocence. It's a no-go.
Oh, he just mentioned the Haruspex. Interesting. I guess our boy is kicking about somewhere then. So you come to meet with Simon, haven't you? What can I do for you now? I've actually been invited by Isidore, so I came to meet with him first and foremost, but now it turns out that he's been murdered. Yes, looks like the murderer is always one step ahead of you, doesn't it? The same one that took Simon's life too. At least that's the conclusion suggested by the information at my disposal. Same pattern, same signature. So who did it? You wouldn't believe it, his own son. The fellow came back after being away for quite a while. His father had sent him away to study surgery when he was but a greenhorn. Quite a lot he has learned. Yes. A wandering scholar turned evil to the bone. All of that just to grab the inheritance. Wait, how did you figure that out? In all honesty, it's hard to explain to an outsider like you. Do you believe in such a thing as clairvoyance, Bachelor? No. Well, you should get to know my wife then, or better yet, those who have already had opportunities to witness the power of her prophecies. Former doubters first and foremost, rationalists. She's got something to say to you too, by the way. So your wife called out Isidore's son specifically? Not specifically, no, but it all adds up, and the circumstances of Simon's death make you wonder too. Isidore's son arrived here last night. The timing speaks against him. It even matches the time it takes to get from the Crucible to Isidore's house. But what about motive? He's the type who needs no motives, despite the fact I have no idea who he is because he's been away all this time. But whatever, students these days know nothing of virtue and ethics, and a medic too. Humans are just hairless animals to them, or even a harmful virus infesting the environment. Cynical bastards. Oh, but I do apologise. Didn't mean to offend you, even by extension. I see you like generalisations. I won't be so quick to accuse the junior Barack. So you'll keep looking for Isidore's murderer? I will. Anyone that can help me with that? There are very few good analysts in our town. Everyone is more or less superstitious here, except for one Yulia... Oh no! Lyoricheva? Lyoricheva, we'll go with. Lyoricheva, possibly. Lyoricheva. Perhaps a most level-headed and reasonable person. The only person to maintain skeptical about Katerina's talents too. Without a shadow of a doubt, she has her own picture of events. She always does. Exactly the person I need. Okay, alright. Thank you. That was most helpful, Alexei. Willing to, help me to look into things even though they go against his specific version of events. Maybe he's not such a bad guy after all. I believe the entrance to the part of the house that his wife lives in is around here, right? I just want to have a quick word with her too, because he did mention that she wanted a word with me specifically. So let's see what she has to say. Hello.
What?
The only proper way for a duel to end is with the death of one of the fighters. That's what battles are supposed to be. Any conflict that has two sides inevitably turns into a battle of good and evil. A brutal philosophy. I'm not speaking metaphorically or metaphysically, I'm talking about a very particular battle. You are one of the combatants, Bachelor Dankovsky. Do you favour good or evil? That's too vague a question. I cannot be more coherent. Details distort the core essence, they devalue the words. But you're saying it is I who... Well, what? You're saying it... What you're saying is it will be I who is to adjust the details along the way, right? Okay, there we go. I got the sentence out. It's not even that hard. My brain just didn't like that one.
Simon.
You're a brave man, Bachelor
Contain
Dankovsky.
his impertinence.
You're overestimating my virtues. This fight is very likely to end in your favour. Does a clay and bone man-eater leave traces of the kind you've witnessed? It's only a spell, an illusion, and they prefer to see it this way. It makes it easier to them. Fight is too big a word. I'm merely assisting Georgi in his efforts to find the murderer. I'm sorry to break it to you, but you'll have to fight to the death. Even if it were a metaphor, the ending is still unambiguous. If you don't find out what happened before nightfall, you will die. Fuck, really? How do you know all this? I'm clairvoyant. And what's the nature of your visions? This should not be your primary concern at the moment. You should concern yourself with the number of minutes you have left, and that number is dwindling. I don't throw predictions around. Others will tell you how often they have come true. Do heed my words. Time will tell. Something tells me I will not spontaneously die as a result of not solving the murder, because this game is one thing and it's inevitable, right? I will die from starvation, I'll die from infection, I'll die from any manner of other horrible things that can happen to me. But I will not die just from failure, because regardless of what you do, life in this town moves on. Your options, your actions actually make very little difference to it in the long run. How voracious Mother Nature is, for 'tis her wrath that has to be withstood. A friend, if only I could but my whistle, I'd gladly barter? My dude, you have nothing. You have nothing and you're useless. I'm sorry to break it to you. We're going the wrong way. I think I must have spoken to this person at some point. I must have broken into her house. Just for a little chat at some point, because I'm pretty certain I did the rounds in my previous campaign. But I don't really remember much about her. Obviously a much less relevant character to Artemy Barak than he is to Monsieur Dankovsky. Or she is, I should say. Oh yeah, I vaguely recall you. Hello.
The most subtle folly grows out of the most subtle wisdom.
I seem to have lost any capacity for observation. My mind is out of tune, things no longer add up. Before, I had no trouble forming a trustworthy tessellation out of the most imperceptible contingencies. Now, I simply cannot get my head around it. Could it be that I'm dying? The steppe air is way too thick. I think that's what causes it. Oh no, Herbert of... Please stop throwing these hard words at me. My little tiny brain cell that bounces around in my head like an eternal game of Pong cannot handle this shit. Herbert of Virene... We're going to say it's a silent V. Herberturnier is in blossom, I grant you, but it blossoms every year. Every year the steppe is filled with its stupefying vapours. The issue I am having, however, has nothing to do with fatigue or perplexity. It's just that I've lost my ability to make distinctive events coincide. Well, everyone has that ability. You don't seem to understand what I'm saying. Let me elucidate. A single word someone utters may precipitate the birth of their own murderer. This line of philosophizing is barely an intellectual novelty, and it's particularly relevant in our neck of the woods. I sometimes feel like I could touch the notions of cause and effect with the tips of my fingers, but now I'm being tedious, I reckon. Not at all.
As the mind
So you've travelled all the way out here only to find that both people you wanted to see are brutally murdered. Is that how the story goes? I do hope that your visit is not in any way related to those most unfortunate circumstances. I have to find out whoever it is that killed Isidore and Simon, and I wanted to ask for your help. Sabarov told me that you have a gift for all manner of investigative inquiry. Certainly no better an investigator than you. I never had a chance to search for a murderer before. The best I can offer is to fill in the blanks with whatever mysterious supernatural entities seem the most fitting. Shabnakadir is the simple man's scarecrow. I would have followed a different narrative. What's that word, the one you just said? Shabnakadir, you mean? The steppe demonology describes it as a kind of golem belched up from the earth to punish all manner of delinquency. It is shaped as a young woman, but made of clay and exhumed bone matter. An unnerving concept, is it not? I've always suspected that primitive worldviews still exist in the remote corners of our country, but I couldn't imagine they would be so active. I knew you'd be exasperated by this discussion. Sacrifices, bovine tails, handfuls of milk teeth in a glass beaker. You may forgive this to children and steppe people, yet having the same notions reiterated by someone surrounded by books on natural history? You must be quite vexing. Or vexed would make more sense, considering I completely changed that sentence on my own whims. How would you explain this? The answer is bound to irritate you even more. The tales are true. So you believe all that yourself, too? I do hyperbolize a little. It's beyond debate that Shabnakadir exists. What is dubious, though, is that bovine tails and milk teeth offer genuine protection from it. What is to say, sympathetic contrivances like this may be of some use to children and people from the steppe, but they are explicitly inefficacious for someone like you and me. We are too literate, too deprived of the scripture codified in ancient soil. So how am I supposed to write off a bad harvest as a sign that the steppe spirits are angry now? We have no choice but to acknowledge the rules enforced by the steppe. We tried to ignore the rules, to place ourselves into the framework of advanced modernity, to no avail. You can call these demons what you want. You may refer to the hair eater as time, if this will make you any happier. I am comfortable with a more juvenile vernacular. It's what I'm used to. You're repeating something that Isidore once told me, almost word for word. By the way, I find his murder far more infuriating than Simon's. Alright, let me suggest then, that while he was in the steppe, he saw or learned something that he wanted to report to all three ruling families. In this case, either the Oglimsky family should have been on his itinerary. In this case, either of the Oglimsky family should have been on his itinerary, especially since Barak was one of their own men. Really? Definitely. The bull project from the abattoir to the railway is controlled by the Oglimsky family. If Isidore's discovery had anything at all to do with the kin, Isidore would have certainly relayed it to Vlad. So, do make sure to pay a visit to the Lump. That's the name of the Oglimsky mansion. Another fitting name, wouldn't you agree? Thank you, Yulia. What would I do without you? And just like that, we follow the trail to Big Vlad, which, I mean, there were sort of hints that Vlad and his ties to the foreman and everything had something to do with Isidore's murder, but those hints weren't really solidified until about, chapter 9 or 10? Day 9 or 10, I should say, in Barak's story. Whereas, as Dankovsky, seemed to be on the trail pretty quickly. I'm probably not going to get any hard evidence this quickly, but can't hurt to go have a little look-see, can it? Hello, clone children. Let's barter, lad. Let's barter. Meridorm for 2 razors? Right? Oh, Meridorm for 1 razor. It gets better. Yes. Yes? Yes. I don't know why I struggled so much with that trade. We need to go to the Lump, but I'm just sort of taking a detour real quick, because I think this is a food shop over here that I've not been to yet. I think. I'm determined to get as much, not here, as much purchased as possible on this first day, so that I don't have to deal with such things later. Hello there. Hello, creepy little child. What's in your pockets? Fucking nothing, pal. Fucking nothing. And here I thought I'd just hit the jackpot, stumbling onto a creepy little child so quickly. Hello. Another Meridorm right there. I did not engage in trading enough in my last playthrough, I'll tell you that right now. Probably my biggest Achilles heel, if anything. I will take your meat. Everything else can go to fuck. Thank you, thank you. So stacked. So many medical supplies, so much food, and still I can't overcome the horrors of that one piece of terrain that you get stuck in every time you walk past it. Another one. I mean, I don't think I have enough for a Schmauder, even if I find a girl with one. Yeah, I really don't at all. It's 10, I believe, for a Schmauder, and I have 2. I need to find more. Trying to remember what it was. It was definitely needles, obviously. Flowers, I think they want, and then different types of nuts, and I think there was something else as well, but I can't think what it was. Whatever, I'll just do my best to keep my eyes peeled for such things. Such as in this bin right here. Nope. Such as in this bin right here. Nope. Can't be bothered checking all the bins. I'll check them if I'm near them, but I'm not going to go massively out my way for every single bin. Especially since those little ones seem to be empty more often than not. I think you can get stuff in them, but it doesn't seem very, very commonplace. Yeah, more water. More water for the drunks. The Oglimsky Manor. Home of Bald Man. That's his defining character trait. He is Bald Man. Hello.
No, I won't believe in some earthen killer.
Ah, Bachelor Dankovsky, of course. Who else could be so dapper? I've heard quite a lot about you. Have you taken a look around? Be sure to check the state of the industry around here. We have our own ways. How curious. What is the current state of your industry? Come now, it's a complicated establishment with 1,000 years of history. A special approach is required to control such a colossus. See where I'm getting at, emissary? But no, such businesses always leave room for improvement. I can see we're not really seeing eye to eye. The project is special. Very special. That means common standards do not apply here. That would be very naive. Well, we'll come back to that.
I can't breathe. Not enough air.
You're right, pal. Yes, getting everything back on track won't be an easy task. I'd like to inquire about the fate of my colleague, Isidore Barak. About the manner of his death, to be precise. What are you implying? What is this manner you're talking about? Be so kind as to mind your own manners. I had nothing to do with it. Don't they say Isidore was murdered by a steppe demon, a Shabnakadir? There was that thingy, a talon they fished out from the wound. I can take this from kids and weirdos, but you, a respectable negotiant. It's hard for you to believe, isn't it? It used to be hard for many. Take my boy, for example, a scoffer if I've ever seen one, and now even he believes it's real. He went off his head a bit. You're in the steppe now, esteemed sir, eastern and backwards. The dead rise from their graves here, clay dummies dance and bulls talk. Does he know the steppe well, that son of yours? He rubs elbows with the rabble, the butchers, odonge, shepherds and gatherers, learns their tongue, collects their legends. He doesn't keep them in check at all. They even dare to come visit him within the premises of the town. If you see a worm creeping through the streets, he's definitely looking for my son. What's wrong with them visiting him within the premises of the town? They're dangerous, they're aggressive, and they hate everyone. Who isn't a steppe person? They'll jump you and kill you on the spot. They'll tear you up with their teeth and devour your flesh while you're still throwing fists at them. So if you're spotted within the town, countermeasures will be taken. So what of your son? Perhaps he could tell me more about this creature? Hold your horses. You want to talk to my blockhead? No, you have nothing to talk about. He's not here, thankfully. I don't want you two to meet. You heard me? These are tradesmen's words, and I'll stick to them. I won't leave it at that.
Fortune turns all things.
So how do you think Simon died? I don't think he was murdered. How could he who craved monarchy not perish? He couldn't, not in this place. Balance requires equilibrium. So what you're saying is Simon's death worked in favour of the local hotshots, huh? Come now, what I'm saying is, when someone takes too much upon themselves, they always end up ground down. That's how life works. But yet they say Simon was the one to bend the circumstances, not the other way around. No one seems to doubt that. Simon has lived a very long life. A very long. He was a worthy man, but long doesn't mean eternal, does it? No one is to blame for his death. Examine the body, you'll see for yourself. It just happened. Kane won't let me examine the body. Well, that is temporary, a family tradition. He's not lying to you, he truly believes Simon was murdered. Were he to admit that Simon simply died of death, he'd probably go to his last home himself. The shock would be too much for the man. That's strange. Georgi Kane didn't seem sentimental to me. Well. Are you scrappy? You don't seem scrappy. Oh, I think I understand. Big Vlad said that the worms would be looking for his son, so we follow the worms to find the son. Very cool. Nothing like this in the other campaign either. I feel like there was more effort put into the Bachelor's campaign than the Harrispex's. The dialogue makes more sense. Maybe that's just because I have a better understanding of the world now, but it seems to. There was a borderline tutorial, which is insane. I'm not immediately just being mauled by everyone in town, which is pretty cool. And there's like stuff like this going on. An escort quest, of all things. Oh fuck. Well, wasn't expecting that. Good thing I know how to fight. Ah, maybe I don't. Okay, that wasn't great, was it? That wasn't amazing. I should probably keep this equipped, huh? Might as well, use a couple of recovery items. I really should have saved and not taken all that damage, but it's been far too long since I've saved, so I just wasn't expecting combat, honestly. It's been a very friendly environment up until now.
Katerina thinks Clara is a messenger from heaven. Yeah, right.
Talking about Clara? Is she here? You found me here. Oh well, I'm not surprised. I suppose you're not too surprised by the fact that everyone knows about you either. The rumour of your arrival spread like fire. Why have you come? Come for some sightseeing. There was a peculiar incident yesterday by the spleen. The fuck's the spleen? The children were playing in the mud as usual, and then suddenly they ran away from the sandbox, and the parents noticed that their hands were smothered in blood. However, none of them were wounded. Neither were any of them surprised. So what's the solution to the puzzle? When the worried adults came to the place where the children had been playing, they found nothing unusual there, only sticks and stones. What do you make of it? Your children play peculiar games. Nice to meet a person of a skeptical mind. I am Vladislav Uglimsky, the younger one, of course, and you are, of course, Danil Dankovsky. Yeah, that's me.
There's this thing that needs to be done.
Bachelor, I have news for you that should prove to be of interest. You seem to be looking for the killer, right? I'm listening. I'll have to briefly explain a few things to you. Have you already been told what the termitary is? I would like to hear you describe it. The termitary is a huge bunkhouse where the Bull Project workers live, although living is the wrong term for it. They nest. They're nesting as a commune, with a rather simple way of life. It could, without reservation, be called savage. And? Let's get to the point then. A case of pointless, aimless unrest has occurred in that hive mind's nests. The workers there are prone to lashing out from time to time like beasts frightened by a storm. They rage, they howl, they gnaw at one another, an unsightly image of a mass uprising. So what does this have to do with Simon's murder? Riots occurred in the termitary several times before. The mob goes crazy for a few days and then they calm down just as unexpectedly. All of them at once. The sudden calm is just as void of reason as the unrest that set them agog previously. Having a certain experience with the kin, we simply block the entrance to the zoo off until the riot defeats itself. And? We usually lock them up beforehand. The evidence of an upcoming outbreak of mass lunacy comes becomes obvious in advance, and the Termitary's Father Superior informs us of it. But Father Taichi has recently passed. A curious coincidence, don't you think? Mass anarchy. Anyway, a member of the kin managed to run off into town while we were busy taking measures. You think he's the killer? I think you and I can help each other, Doctor. You are looking for the killer, and I am sure it's the runaway butcher. The title of a half-man suits him very nicely. The Kanes claim that Simon has not been killed by a human hand, don't they? And our family doesn't need unnecessary unrest in the town. The butcher can babble devil knows what. His mind is almost likely clouded with insane ideas. So you'd rather he kept mum about what's happening inside? You're correct. They barely know how to speak, but that only makes it worse. Half men, half beasts, they start preaching, you feel as though you've encountered a doomsayer. I need this butcher to disappear. Hand him over to the Kanes or simply kill him if the beast attacks you. The reward will be hefty. You taking me for a thug or something? I'm taking you for a person who's looking for the killer and has the authority to punish him. I'm telling you, there is a rebellious outlaw beast out there. If he attacks you and you're forced to defend yourself, you're free to kill him. So where can I find this monster? He is most likely being harboured in a suspicious house. That's in the crude sprawl, yes. My father is a man of rather hard-handed disposition, and quick-tempered to boot, and if he finds out the crude sprawl is becoming a fugitive, he will make a mess. Pointless brutality serves no one. I'm looking for peace rather than blood, I'm telling you. I'll do my best to make sure you're right. Show me the house. Okay. Interesting. Things are aligning a little bit oddly. I'll just overwrite the last one. Because I believe, I'm trying to remember, I'm racking my brains, it was, 6 months ago or more at this point. More than that, I think, when I started my first playthrough of this. From what I recall, there was a mission for the Harrispecs to go hunting down some butchers. And Aspity basically sent him on a wild goose chase because she was harbouring them and waiting for them to get free of the city, sort of thing. So I'm assuming this is the same butcher from that quest. But I don't think, well, I know for a fact it wasn't on day one for the Harrispec, so I don't know how, I guess this is a different story, right? I mean, the same general events, but with different people, different pawns in different places, things can line up differently, which is why things are happening at a different pace and in different perspectives, I guess. Like, things that happened on day 6 for the Harrispecs might happen on day 3 for the Bachelor, even though they're technically the same day. Interesting. Player intervention changes things up, I suppose. Because let's face it, in the Harrispecs' story, the Bachelor just sat in Ava's house and didn't really do very much. So, in this story, he gets about. He goes wading through rivers. He breathes in the thick steppe air. It's chewy. It is. Not to get too spoilery here if you haven't seen my previous playthrough or any other playthroughs of this game, but this town doesn't stay this peaceful. Not for very long. It's kind of weird walking around and not being accosted, you know what I mean? I'm too used to people fucking coming for me every time I walk along here. I'm curious, hang on. This building is pretty important to the Harrispecs. Not to me, though. Never mind. It's worth a look. So, Aspity, she should just be around the corner. She's a creepy little motherfucker, but so are most people in this game, to be fair. I just feel like the kids are extra creepy just by virtue of being, like, younger. Although, to be fair, Aspity, I think, is probably the most adult of all the quote-unquote kids. She does seem like she's, you know, late teens, probably. But, she is a bit sinister. I'm gonna save outside because I get the feeling I might have to fight a butcher when I get in there. And that could very easily go badly for me. I like this approach, though, that we're killing this guy as sort of the lesser of two evils, because Big Vlad will just, like, nuke the entire area if he doesn't get his way.
Shabnakadir is tracing the streets like bacteria in a vein.
Do you know where to find clean water around here? Fresh water must be plentiful in this place. There's a river close by. All that water comes from the steppe and isn't exactly clean. Yesterday I inspected all the springs in the area. There seems to be no more clean water around. That salty taste is everywhere. It's reddish in colour and there's a disgusting clots in it. Almost like there's a load of blood under the ground or something. So where can I find clean water then? The townsfolk store clean water in homemade reservoirs. This modest supply should be enough to help us last a little while, but afterwards we'll have to drink that bloody mixture. How disgusting.
Why is the
So what do you want,
so
I wonder?
loud? What
There's a
is
runaway
so
hiding
loud?
here. Take me to him. Why would I? He's in danger. I'm here to help. He's a butcher. He won't talk to you. You wouldn't understand him. He's been here for more than a day, but even I can't get him to talk. It is I who'd rather tell you something. What do you want to tell me? Big Vlad has plugged the termitary up for a reason. The butcher's mumbling is all over the place, but if you listen carefully, you'll make out tales of such horrors that I get shivers all over. Thousands of people have lost their minds all at once there. Many have died. Something's brewing inside. How did they die? Dunno, can't tell. The butcher will tell me anyway. Are you sure? Have you forgotten that he's crazed? If you think he'll communicate with you, you're mistaken. They aren't great talkers anyway. They can only howl, growl, and bawl when they're under a spell. Fine, then lead him out of here yourself. Really? Why? Here, he's entertaining to me, and it's dangerous to go out in the steppe anyway. What if his pursuers rip me apart in the street? What if they think I'm a shabnakadir? What can you offer me in return for the service? There's no need for that. I'll speak to him myself. Go then, the butcher's in the hospice. The entrance is on the other side of the house. Ah! Don't come back here complaining afterwards, though. I'll deal with it. That's what the fucking her basement's for. I went in that basement so many times, just like, there's got to be something in here at some point. Turns out there is something in here. On day 1 of the Bachelor story. Quick save. Hello. How you doing, lad? Okay, not even going to attempt to say that, but he made some noises. Do you kindly tell me, do you even understand me? Oh, fucking... This... Okay, I'm just gonna save scum already. I hate to be that guy so early in the game, but fucking hell, that caught me off guard. The Bachelor, I almost said. The Bachelor story, it's less openly hostile, but because everything isn't trying to kill you all the time like it is in the Harrispexes, it means that when something does suddenly turn on you, you don't expect it. Aha! Do not like the swing speed of this. The knife is so much cooler than the scalpel. Can't loot him. That face though. Poor guy. Alright. I don't know if it's that the Harrispex speaks their language and that's why he could talk to them. Or if it's just that that one in particular was like crazed and rambling. Who can say? Do we go back to Vlad the Younger now? I kind of want to see what Aspity has to say. If she has anything to say on the subject after I murdered her friend.
What's wrong with my eyes?
Your veins are all swollen. Does being close to me make your blood stir? Was there anyone around that would want to see Simon killed? No one's seen the Shabnak yet, but everyone knows what he wants already. Do you know that a man-eater's victim feels the encroaching death? They know in advance they're next on his list, and so they walk about restlessly, waiting and waiting and waiting, and then the wait is over. That's how you can tell who's being hunted. Why are you calling her a he? I don't believe the man-eater is a woman. Anything is possible, of course, but I think it's sexless. So why are you saying he? You should be saying they. Come on, it's 2023. You seem to be well informed, and have nothing to say on the subject of the man I killed in your basement, so have a nice day. Back to Vlad then. Yeah. Alright. I honestly wasn't intending to kill the guy. It seems like there was an option to get out of it by telling Aspity to lead the guy away. To take the butcher out of here without me even interacting, but I kind of wanted to talk to him myself to see what he had to say on the subject, and well, that didn't go so great. So I know I'm not really heading in the right direction for Vlad Jr. right now, but there's a meat shop right there that I don't think I've been in yet, so I always call it a meat shop. It's a food shop is what it is. It's a grocer's. It's a market of food types. It doesn't specifically sell meat, but it's just that the sign is the sign outside is of like a bull head, so it just immediately makes me think meat every time I see it. They sell anything to buy this fish as well? Need to make 100. I'm probably not going to make 100. Want to keep hold of the morphine, want to keep hold of the alpha tablets. Alpha tablets are everywhere, to be fair, but the watch isn't going to sell for enough. I guess I just won't buy the fish. I've got pretty good food reserves now, though. Keep me going for a while. This is where it turns out that prices don't actually go up in the Bachelor's campaign, because it's easy mode, and I've just wasted all my money at the start for absolutely no reason. Oh yeah, more razors. Need to keep an eye out for the blonde boys, the little blonde boys, because they have a convenient habit of trading cool things for razors. Which is pretty cool of them, I think. Have I looted these bins? I've been around this area, but I don't specifically remember looting these bins. Oh wow. Definitely worth my time. Definitely worth the detour for a single empty water bottle. To be fair, get enough of them, that's another bandage. Despite how liberal I've been with my bandage use so far, they are something worth stockpiling for sure. Hello. Not sure how much... Oh, you don't have anything to trade anyway. I've got 11 water, I think that was. Briefly saw for the 3 frames that I had that menu open. So that should be enough to trade for something with a drunk, if I can find a drunk who actually has something to trade. I'm intrigued because I've not been over here as Mr. Dankovsky. I want to speak to a man named Bad Grief. Which is honestly just the best name. Like, he could just be called Grief, which would already be like some next level edgelordery. Where the this way, apparently. But he takes it one stage further. He's not good grief. He's bad grief. He's not Charlie Brown's catchphrase. He's bad grief. Hello.
Nah.
Welcome, welcome, dear guest. Give a man something to drink, let him grab a bite, sit him down comfortably, show our big city guest some respect, and don't let him out until I say otherwise. Enough. Wanna play cards? Dice? The stakes ain't big city, but our game is pretty gritty. Hey, he rhymes. He's like a fucking Fucking spitting bars over here. I have a fondness for my money, thanks. Since we just met, dog. Since we just met, dog. You go in peace for the first and last time. But next time, your exit will cost extra. Next time, it will be you begging me to come.
Many a one says it.
Well, mate, you got any good stuff?
Will.
Hey, Grief, who killed Simon? You think I did? I'm not thinking anything, I'm asking a question. Asking her, how could a man that's been fooling around with them afterworld shenanigans not die? Ain't nothing good about sticking your nose to where us humans are never welcome nor wanted. Don't trouble trouble till trouble troubles you, right, Doc? So, you think Simon's been killed by a supernatural creature? No one is to blame for his death. It's all been coming to this, Doc. It was. You tease death and it'll snatch you up. I've seen some shit. I've got experience, mate, so I know what I'm saying. And Simon did tease it. So he saw it coming. Show me who's blaming a man or a ghoul for it and I'll spit him in the eye. So what's with the street hysteria? Women getting killed? Are those your men at work? No way, my folks are only catching tiny little fish in muddy water, nothing more. Would they go looking for trouble at a time like this? Why would they cut beggars anyway? The ones after 'em girls in the streets are your honest working bees, scared shitless. Got themselves hung over twireen, got themselves grim fear knocking on the back of their necks, and boom, batshit insane they go. You got a silver tongue, haven't you? Well, you've got a keen mind, mate. You'll find yourself a killer, Doc, you will. Each passing hour spawns a ton more of those. You're bound to catch at least one by the end of the day, I figure. Being smart, are we?
He who loans a minute owes a year.
Right, let's trade. Very expensive. Nice collection of expensive firearms and stabby implements, but nothing I can afford. I was just curious as to what you have for sale. It's nice to get an explanation for the angry knife men in the street, who we will be running into soon enough, I'm sure. This isn't the way out. Yeah, apparently they're just normal blokes who have gone a bit wacko, gone a bit yakko, gone a bit dot, you know? They've gone the whole Animaniacs. This whole explanation about the air being like filled with the scent of this twirene stuff or whatever is it explains a lot about this game, honestly. As Barter lad, you've got a lot of Meridorm right there, and I will take all of it, I think, to be honest with you. Thank you, much appreciated. God damn, I'm doing so many quests. I'm getting so many items. It's been real good. It's been real good to me so far. I don't know why I came this way. This isn't the way to Vlad the Younger's house. This is the way to Vlad the Older's house. Or Big Vlad, as he's more affectionately known. Big Vlad the Big Lad. Oh well. Took the scenic route. It's not like we've got much else on today. I imagine this is going to be the end of this quest, and then we are basically free to kill time until day 2. I imagine. Didn't have anything else outstanding, did we? Don't know why I'm clicking the other days. That's not going to get me anywhere. Okay. They do have a message from Isidore Barak, but I'm not going to read it right now. It's just telling me to come here because cool shit and eternal life or whatever. Yes, bandage. Oh, it only costs 5. In that case, a deal. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Oh, hello. I don't know why I keep talking to them as if I'm actually going to be able to afford the Schmauder if I find it. All you need to know about Schmauder for the uninitiated is that it is fucking essential. And it can only be bought off strange little children. As I say, this game is weirdly enjoyable once you know the intricacies of it. Like, once you have the entire overly complicated and cryptic game design mapped out in your head, it's kind of fun to try and sort of min-max it, like the way I'm doing right now. In my own sort of baby min-max sort of way. Can we not talk? Thank you.
Katerina thinks Clara is a messenger from heaven.
It's just until you get to the point where you know those mechanics, it's nightmarish. See how it all turns out. I used to keep this place secret, but all these secrets seem so childish now. It's over. The butcher is dead. That's the best news I've heard of the last few days. So it was him that killed Simon, right? I doubt it. He's too dumb for that, but he was definitely insane and very dangerous. Well, it's for the best. And now I want you to listen to me, Doctor. I hold too much respect for you to offer you a reward for this rather extraordinary service, so please accept this money as a donation from the town's rulers to you. A sign of our support for someone brave enough to commit to your difficult task. Capturing the killer is our direct duty. Please consider this sum to be the Oglimski's contribution to your common cause. No need for excuses, I was risking my life. You are compensating me for the risk. We are business people after all. Give me the money. 3,000? Well, well, well. Give you a kiss on those big, luscious lips of yours for that. That was very generous. That was very generous, young Vlad. My, what can I do with 3,000 big ones? I can buy all the food and medicine. That's what I can do. That's what I can do. That's the important thing here. Anything else is just a waste of money, frankly. Food, medicine. The essentials in life. Quite literally. I think we've probably gone long enough for today, so I will wrap up here. Next episode, I expect we will just wander around town and collect things. Won't that be fun? Who needs to advance a plot when we can just keep prepping for later in the game, when this game will start to try and bend me over and make me its, fairly willing bitch. So, yeah, I'll see yous next time. Bye for now.